and to approve someone to use an assumed identity when they are not yet an employee is allowed for in the legislation.
Mr. Chair.
The Honourable Christopher Finlayson.
Mr. Chair, the previous speaker raised a very good point and about the term will be an employee, and I should simply say that sometimes the actual cover is created and it may be used over a number of years. So when the cover is created, a person, for example, may not be an employee but may be for the operation some years later. So that's why belts and braces is or will be, because at the relevant time of creation of the cover, the person may not be an employee. So it's simply to cover off that exigency. Can I simply say there's a broader question that I omitted to mention, but we'll come to it in part 7, and that is in relation to assumed identities. One other matter I should have referred honourable members to is in clause 165B, and simply to say that ministerial policy statements are able to be issued, quite apart from warrants and so on, and part 7 deals with clause 165, and it deals with ministerial policy statements, just to emphasise that quite apart from what's in the statute, a ministerial policy statement can be issued dealing with the detail of acquiring, using and maintaining an assumed identity, or creating and maintaining a legal identity. That's clause 165C. So in due course, the responsible minister will be producing policy statements which will provide for the detail of the matter.
Kelvin Davis.